Hey, what's up? JamiSun here. Great time to be alive. I was born and raised in Somerville, South Carolina, and I grew up in, typical small town, southern school. Sports were involved. I was raised in a Jehovah's Witness religion background, so I didn't celebrate holidays. I didn't play on football teams or any baseball teams, celebrate holidays or stand up for the flag or salute the flag or say the Pledge of Allegiance. I was kind of an outcast from birth. It had some advantages, though. I'm not trying to say I was a victim, but it was an interesting upbringing, to say the least. But my mom left my dad when I was about 10 or 11. And that was when I was released out into the world to be able to explore and do things that I wasn't able to do when I was in that religion. So I immediately got into drugs and alcohol and partying, and I started hanging out with the wrong crowd. I ended up in juvenile correctional facilities for dealing drugs, for stealing, for assault, for skipping a school. I was what you call incorrigible. And a lot of stories behind that. I'll get into some of those later, but yeah, I've been a rebel, a punk rocker, a skateboarder, breaking the rules. I was rebellious. I gave my mom a lot of problems, and, I just didn't listen. I did things my way. And, it's just part of who I am and who I was and part of my story. It doesn't define me. But eventually, when I was about 12 or 13, I got introduced to the guitar. And it was this guy named Bubba, and he showed me a power chord on a Fender Strat, and it was on distortion on this little PV backstage amp, and I was hooked immediately. So he started teaching me some picking techniques, and I started learning Metallica songs and punk rock music songs, and started writing my own songs using a power chord, sliding it up and down. And this guy Bubba was an amazing artist and singer songwriter, and he could have went way further than he actually did. But what he did was he planted a seed for me and gave me the fire. And so I took that and then went and I was hungry for more. So I went around the neighborhoods and the communities and tried to find other better guitar players than me. I would, listen to music nonstop. I always wanted to hear the heavy stuff. If it wasn't heavy, I wasn't interested. If it wasn't fast, I wasn't interested. I loved Joe Satriani. I loved Metallica, Slayer, all of that heavy stuff. And I started, creating my own music. I got into my own band when I was 17. It's called Jesus Wept, and I was the lead guitar player. And all these guys were older than me by 5 and 8 years, and I was the little kid. And I ended up having to sing because nobody else could sing, and I wasn't really singing. I was screaming. And we played our first show at the Back Door, this little dive bar in Charleston, and it was awesome. I felt like a rock star. I was like, I'm going to be a rock star one day. I'm going to be standing on stage in front of millions of people, and this is it. I want to be Tom Araya from Slayer or James Hetfield from Metallica, and I want to play this heavy stuff and just possess the crowd with the metal. And, it was awesome. I loved it. And I've always been a big kid. I've always been just super stoked about life. I never really took things seriously. I was always just having fun. And my life I've been able to do that because of music, because of guitar, because of my ability to play and to play with others and to write my own stuff and to perform cover songs. And I'm really grateful for my life. I get to be a big, 51-year young kid. And, I've been able to help others. I've taught some students that have surpassed me. I've inspired people. I've gotten people shows. I've been somebody in the community that's been able to help others, and that feels good. I've dealt with some jealous haters. I've dealt with, everything that comes with being at the top of your game, because if nobody's hating on you, you're not doing it big enough. That's the bottom line, right? So I'm just grateful for this life. I have so much to be grateful for. And along the way, I was able to support myself. There was this one time I played my first gig as a solo artist at Taco Boy on Folly Beach in Charleston, South Carolina in 2007, New Year's Eve. My buddy Tony was like, hey man, come play some music. And I did. I borrowed Tony's guitar, his little Takamine. And off I went. Next thing you know, me and Tony are at the apartment. My guitar case is open. We're counting the cash, and I've got enough money for rent. I hand Tony the rent. I was like, this is it. This is what I'm doing. And so I just went and started finding gigs everywhere. I was playing 7 days a week, sometimes doubles on the weekends. I was averaging like 350 gigs a year. I love what I do. I love entertaining people. I love like uniting them with songs they know and love. I love trying to, challenge myself with my voice and my guitar playing. I try to make the songs my own, but I also try to honor the artist. And it's just been a hell of a ride, man, since 2007, going on 20 years as a solo artist. And I've been invited to some amazing parties. I've had people throw money at me to record albums. Thank you, Keith. I've had people that have supported me left and right. I've played at people's weddings. I've been invited to some amazing VIP parties, celebrity weddings. I've had, just the list goes on and on. I can't even think about everything that's come to me through music. And it's just, I'm really grateful for it. And even if you're not that great and you can strum some chords and you can sing some songs that unite people, that brings people together. And we need that more than ever now, So I just wanted to start this channel, tell my story a little bit, try to share some of the stories I have and some of the skill set that I have, some of the knowledge I have of playing gigs and being in the scene, to traveling, to running a very successful business and still doing it today. I've got a lot to be grateful for. I come from a very humble means, and today I live a very comfortable life. I have freedom on multiple levels, and I figured I might as well share what I know. There's no telling how long I'll be here on this planet. I might as well share what I know while I'm here. And if you find any value of this, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, leave me a comment, share your story. The world needs your story. It takes some courage to do this, what I'm doing now, because it's all the scrutiny and the, oh God, I'm going to get ridiculed and all of that fear comes in, right? But the reality is I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of the things I've done. I'm proud of my friends and the support that I've gotten. I'm proud to support other people. Relationships don't always go great. I'm not a good fit for everybody. I understand that. And we all have our characteristics, right? But in the end, we are all unique. We have something to share. And I just want to inspire you, just get out there and share it. Even if it's just one time you got out there and you shared part of your story that might have helped somebody else out. Like I particularly ended up getting sober over 10 years ago. And that was one of the best things I could have done for myself. It gave me a clear head. It helped me be grounded in the now, and helped me to like do the next right thing. And, I came from bad credit, like horrible hygiene, horrible health, I was a mess, and I've made some progress. I'm not perfect, but definitely making progress. And today's way better than it was yesterday. And I just want to become better every day if I can. And this is just one way for me to do that. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening. I'm looking forward to sharing some amazing gear. I've got a wall full of amazing guitars here. They've each got a story to tell. I've got some with dings and stickers all over it that have been around the world with me. And I'm excited. Thanks for joining me. Cheers.